What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Wait, What Are We Talking About podcast, episode 121. My name is Bret, aka Enigma911, and you can catch this podcast live over on twitch.tv/Enigma911 every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern. You can join the chat if you're a subscriber over there. We would love to have you in on the conversation. If you can't catch it live, that's a-okay. It is dropping over on YouTube and podcast services and topic by topic, and is put one big video and MP3 for your amusement on the following Friday. Last but not least, hashtag ad merch store. Get all of your swag over there, t-shirts, cups, backpacks, and more. Rep the brand, support us. It would be greatly appreciated. It wouldn't be a podcast if Artemis wasn't here. And also, obviously, if I wasn't here. We're going solo today. Today, we're going to be talking about some different stuff. Don't worry, no wrestling this week. We're going to be talking about some video games for both of our topics today. Right, Moose? We're going to be talking about video games. So for topic one, we'll get right on into it. I want to talk about a little game that came out recently called Sifu. Now, some of you guys who watch this podcast watch stream as well, so you know I've been playing it over there since launch, and I am having a blast with this game. I can definitely see why some people might not like the game and are kind of turned off to it. Sifu is definitely one of the more challenging games. I know a lot of people, when something's difficult, it's like Bloodborne, it's like Dark Souls. Well, I wouldn't say it's that bad, but I can definitely see some comparisons to those games, along with actually a lot of other games. But I can definitely see why this certain type of game, this roguelite, is pushing people away. And it is a little bit challenging with the fights that you're going to encounter throughout the game. And also the controls, there's it can be simple and it can be complex at the same time. You have a lot of flexibility in what your character is able to do with the different movements. You have your two strikes, but then you can also do certain moves if you do button combinations, or you can throw your opponents, or you have to dodge with a certain button. You have to parry with a certain button. So it can be a lot to think about, especially in a situation that arises where maybe you're fighting 4 to 6 enemies at the same time. And it can get frustrating fast. I can definitely understand that. Personally, I'm having a blast with it, just kind of seeing how the fights or the flow of the fights kind of goes and looks. Now, maybe I'm jumping ahead of myself here. If you don't know what Sifu is a martial arts third-person fighter that is a roguelite. Now, what a roguelite is it's like trial and error. You're going to keep playing that level over and find either more efficient ways to tackle things or secret paths or different routes that you didn't know about before, and it's going to help you progress through the game. So the gimmick, how Sifu is being told is it's a revenge story. And you, as the main character, the martial artist, are trying to avenge your father. And you're going to get revenge on these 5 members of a gang that had killed him. And as you're fighting through the levels, if your character happens to die, instead of it being game over and you restart from there, it will age you. So, for example, if this is your first death, you're age 20. When you come back alive, you'll be age 21, and you will revive right where you are. If you die consecutively, fast enough without lowering this counter, it will go up progressively. So from 1 to 2. So your next death, you would be 23. Then it would be 3, 4, so on and so forth. So depending on how well you do, or what resources you kind of gather to negate this effect, you can age pretty fast, and depending on that, your playthrough or your run will go fast as well. So that's the basic concept of how the gameplay is is working for this game. Now, there's a lot of different other smaller elements and things that you can learn of, obviously, how to make your character more effective in their fights or efficient in your runs. I won't go into all those details, but it's been a lot of fun. Now, circling back to the comparisons to, like, you know, the Demon Souls, the Dark Souls, the Bloodborne, the Sekiro, etc. Difficulty-wise, I don't think it's like that. Once again, I can see the comparisons because there is a lot of dodging and parrying and then attack, similar to those games, those Soulsborne games. And then the one shot, the one opportunity, Mom Spaghetti, resurrection aspect, I can get that as well. Personally, for me, I've never been very successful in my attempts at a Demon Souls, a Bloodborne, a Sekiro. I think Sekiro is the one I made it personally the farthest in, and ironically, I guess is the hardest, so I don't know how that works out. Shout out to the Trophy Room podcast, Mr. Badbit, Joe, who was on a few episodes ago, mentioned that Sekiro is very rhythm-based. So maybe that was something that I just happened to pick on compared to the other ones where I didn't have that flow or I didn't have that skill that necessarily I needed to progress far in those games, whatever it is. But something that I think benefits Sifu that I personally like and allows me not to get frustrated with how the game is going and when I die is the resurrection and aging mechanic. In the Soulsborne style games, Jesus, when you die, you go back to essentially a campfire, a resurrection point, like essentially your last save point. And you will lose all of your resources and you'll pick up your journey back from that point. Now, I'm sure a lot of you guys are saying, well, okay, that's like a lot of games. You die, you go back to your checkpoint, whatever. So the resources are the big one. In those games, you kill enemies, you get souls. Those souls are a cash value that you can essentially increase your character's strength, their stamina, their vitality, whatever it is. And if you die, you lose it all. It stays with the enemy that has killed you. So your objective, make it back to that enemy, kill them, or at least pick up your resources that maybe are left on the ground, recover those, and then you can go from there. If you happen to die again on your journey to those resources are permanently gone. And now the new stockhold is whatever you built up getting to that point. So Sifu, I think, really, I like it a lot because this aging mechanic. When you die, you resurrect, you're going to resurrect right in the spot that you lost the fight. And your resources, quote unquote, aren't depleted, aren't diminished, whatever. Any experience that you had built up from your fights still is there with you. Your score, which is like how well or efficiently you are doing the level, will stay. And then you also have, obviously your age will go up, but you'll keep those resources and you're starting right where you left off. You don't have to battle through the entire level again back to that point. And I think this makes it more appealing to me and not as frustrating because A, I'm starting right where I am, and it's almost like a trial and error once again of like I get multiple attempts at whatever this room is, whatever this enemy is, this boss, whatever it is, so I can be like, okay, I did this wrong, maybe I should try this. And it's instant satisfaction of like I'm back into the fight. It's not this whole like, okay, analyze what did I do wrong, great, now I could do all of these 10 steps before, then I can worry about the boss, maybe something goes wrong that I didn't plan for leading up to that point, and then I get frustrated, and then I'm not in the best position I can be. Here it's just you're right where you left off and you're right back into the fight. There's no in between, there's no lull, which is great and I appreciate. So I think that's something to me that makes this game more appealing. Now, I mentioned the flow of the fight. This game is animated super well and makes you feel like a badass. It's just like your typical, like, you know, martial arts movies. And yeah, it's just, as you're going through those rooms, fighting those enemies, clearing out the rooms, you feel great when you feel the confidence in knowing what you're doing. And I mentioned this on stream recently. It's weird how these games have that effect. Similar to Hades. I've talked about Hades on the podcast. Hades is another roguelite where you learn in death and you rinse and repeat. You do the game over and over again. And it's weird how these games are able to do, how to make the player feel better about what they're doing. Even though technically not failing, but they are dying. It gives you this confidence boost to be like, oh, okay, I know this room. I can just rush through it, run through it. When the first time the players are running through it, it's like, oh my God, not the worst thing in the world, but like, this is really tough. This is really challenging. I don't know what to do. But later on, after you have that experience, it's almost like a breeze. You can just run through this level, not overthink things, and like clear rooms like that. No problem. And it's interesting just as a player to be like, holy shit, this area was giving me trouble, or this boss was giving me trouble, and I just swept the floor with them. Really crazy. And it's so satisfying as well in a game like this where that difficulty is present, to see that growth and be like, dang, I'm doing well in this game and having fun. But yeah, it's just been a blast to play. Some other games that it kind of pulls elements from, another game that came out recently over this past year, Deathloop. Deathloop, once again, another roguelite, die, reset, keep doing more and more. The way this story plays out, as you go, you're going to kind of gather information about, you know, your enemies, the backstory of your main character, and all those things in death you will retain. You'll retain that information. You'll retain any keys, any passcodes to kind of make your path shorter through death. So as long as you discover it, that path is open to you, which is nice. But then another thing that it kind of pulls from Deathloop, and I'm sure other games, this is just one that is more recent to me that I know about, is your skills. So I mentioned earlier your experience points. You defeat enemies, you get experience points, you can make your character stronger. And every time you die or you visit these totems, you can unlock skills for yourself, different maneuvers that you can use in your fight, whether it's a button combination or it's a just a new move entirely available to you, or maybe your weapons are more proficient, or whatever it is. And you can invest that XP into those skills for that run. So until you reach the age of like 70 plus and you're officially die, that's like your last attempt, you have that skill available to you. Something that they do, that they pulled from this other game, is you can permanently unlock these abilities for any run that you attempt. So, for example, if something is worth, this skills can be unlocked with 500 XP. Great. I unlock it for this run. I have it for this run until, once again, I reach the end, age 70, and have to reset. If I choose to, I can keep spending XP into this skill 5 times, and I can then permanently unlock it. Whether I do that all in the same run, or if I just kind of progressively do that over time, once that 5th is cashed in, it is now permanently unlocked and I have it forever. This is nice because obviously it allows you to kind of play with your build. What skills work for me? What skills don't? And you can kind of cater more to your style. And maybe also also give yourself the ability to use that experience later on into something different. Maybe a skill that you haven't tried. Maybe you need to reset your death counter at a totem. You can use it there. It gives you the flexibility with that. And it's really nice to see that implemented in this type of game with the fighting style of, unlocking these and making your character, once again, stronger in death and in this trial and error. Um, so that's really neat. And then along the same lines, it's a very small thing, but this game also kind of pulls from the fighting game genre a little bit with some of their combinations and how the combat happens. Now, with fighting games, I know a lot of people who aren't into fighting games are like, oh, I just mash the buttons and hope for the best. Yes, obviously that strategy can work from time to time, but if you watch high level gameplay, there's usually, it's almost like a chess match or almost like a dance between these two characters that are fighting and playing against each other. And there's moments where you attack and there's moments where you defend. This whole game is gravitating towards that. If you just run in and you're punch, 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 kick, punch, punch, you'll get some success and some results, but ultimately the fight is not going to go your way, at least in a clean fashion. So finding that balance is something that I think this game does really well, and once again pulls from that genre and makes it a little bit more interesting, at least to me as a fighting game fan, of like, okay, I have to kind of make a strategy going into this fight. I'm going to run in, I'm going to do some moves, and then I got to be defensive, whether it's avoiding, fully moving my character out of the way of strikes, or it's parrying, attempting to block, creating an opening of the enemy, and then I go in myself. And it's fun to do. It's fun to try and figure those things out. Does it work every time? No, of course not. You got to get the timing down, or something happened, whatever. Obviously, multiple enemies, anything can happen. But it's fun and exciting to see. And then even with some of the abilities that you can unlock and skills, they can also be similar to a fighting game, and where it's button combinations. Hit, pause, hit is going to allow you to do this special move. Hitting certain directions and then followed by a button press are going to allow you to do other moves. It's just a lot of fun to, once again, have that flexibility. Like I said, there's a lot of buttons or controls that you have in this game, and I can totally understand that's a little overwhelming, but having the freedom to kind of mix and match how I'm going to tackle a fight, tackle a room, tackle a boss is really exciting. It's not just go in, okay, shooting him in the head. Yes, that works, and yes, that's fun, but having a little bit more creativity with it makes things teeny bit more exciting and more appealing. So yeah, it's been exciting to run through Sifu. Right now, as of recording, of the 5 levels, I'm on level 4. So I've completed 3 levels, on the 4th. And it's once again, it's been a blast. I'm really enjoying the game. It's been interesting running into the bosses of each level and seeing what they bring to the table, their challenges, and their differences in stages. So every boss, at least that I've encountered so far, has had 2 stages to them, and they have slight differences. The boss that I tackled most recently, I would say she is probably the biggest difference between her fighting styles. Her first fighting style is very slow, very methodic, very patient, while the other one is very rapid fire. So it's fun to kind of pick up on the attack patterns of the bosses, but then figure out once again and strategize what is the correct attack sequence. What's the correct attitude I need to take into this fight, and how do I do this successfully? And yeah, it's just been a great time. If you like a little challenge in your games, or if you really like fighting games, or just like an in-your-face brawl or martial arts style, I would highly recommend this game. If you're kind of on the fence with it, because I know difficulty in games, everybody's got their opinion on that. Give it a watch, whether it's me, or somebody else. Watch it and see for yourself. See if you like it. And another thing I would just recommend is, if you do actually try out this game and play it, be patient. I know these types of games can be very frustrating. I streamed Sekiro for a long time and just gave up because I was like, all right, too much is going on. I'm not making any progress. I totally understand that. Be patient with yourself, and just remember, when you fail, when you die, you're actually making progress. It may not seem like it, but you are in every death. In every death, there is growth. Whether it's your character's abilities and you unlocking them, or it's you figuring out and getting more comfortable with the rooms. It will take time. I think, once again, going back to Hades, I think I put, oh boy, over 100 hours into that game, and that's just rinse repeat. Different weapon combinations, different enemies, different speeds, different challenges, whatever. I don't know how much time I've put into Sifu yet. I want to say maybe 8 to 10. But it's fun. It's fun to go back to dive into, to see, oh shit, level 1 is so easy now compared to day 1 with it. So fun, so rewarding. Definitely recommend this game. I know it's only February, but this game is definitely up there for me of like, I'm going to be talking about this next December for a Game of the Year discussion, or at least like, oh shit, you remember Sifu? That was fantastic. That was a great time. It was a lot of fun, and I'm really excited to maybe hop into it again, or just kind of go down memory lane with it and think about it some more. But yeah, Sifu, great game. Really enjoying playing it. If you want to catch it on stream, if you catch this podcast early, just check the schedule over there. I'm sure I'll be playing it once or twice a week until we beat this thing. And maybe even a little bit after. We'll see if we can be a little bit more efficient. Maybe not be super old when we reach some levels. But yeah, it's been a blast. So moving on to topic 2. More games. I've been lucky to have the opportunity to play more games recently. Streaming has definitely helped that side of things, and my work schedule changing, which is weird because I did have 3-day weekends on the other job, and sometimes 4, but whatever. Somehow I'm able to play more games, or at least it seems like I'm able to play more games. I'm a little late to the party on this one, but also came out recently. Want to talk a little bit about Pokemon Legends Arceus. I wasn't really sure about this game when it was first announced. I was like, okay, cool, another Pokemon game, open world, that's cool, that's different. But I wasn't really excited for it or planning on getting it, grabbing it, whatever. But it came out. Seems like it was doing very, very well, very successful. I saw a lot of streamers that I know, Duly Noted Gaming, Ray Navarus, Cheesy Blue Nips, Cara Corvus. A lot of streamers were playing this game. And I was like, okay, this seems interesting. And then some of my friends and viewers in stream were like, hey, we're playing it too, and we love it. Are you going to play it? And I was like, I don't know. And through their chats and then me actually watching some of these guys streaming it, I was like, you know what? This looks really fun. And so I decided to get it, and I've been playing it for the past week, and it is quite a good time. Lately, I've been kind of wanting a game just to kind of zone out to. And, you know, I've had games from in the past from time to time that I've done that, but I wanted to get back into Pokemon. I put a lot of time, once again, I think also talked about on the podcast, into Pokemon Sword and Shield. That was a fun, like, kind of nostalgia trip, obviously also with the new flair. So I've been wanting to kind of have that experience again. And I had picked up my DS, charged it after the longest time, and started playing through Soul Silver. Favorite Pokemon game was Gen 2. That was my first. And with this being the remake, I was like, oh yeah, absolutely, I want to play this. So I dove back into that and had made it pretty far. I was remembering all that, having a great time. And now with Arceus, that is obviously also filling that void, or that need, I guess, for that game. And yeah, it's just been really fun to, you know, I don't know how everyone plays, but for me, throwing something on, whether it's The Office or another stream, and just kind of having like that noise in the background of just like something going on, some activity, and then booting up the game and playing it while chilling on the couch, you know, just having kind of like that relaxing weekend vibe or whatever. And yeah, it's been a good time. I think the thing that also makes it intriguing and interesting is the difference in how this game is compared to a traditional Pokemon game. With the traditional Pokemon games, you know, you battle trainers, your Pokemon against their Pokemon, and then you're going for the gym badges, the 8 gym badges, to then eventually go to the Elite Four, become the Pokemon League champion, whatever. And in this game, there's none of that. There's no Pokemon battles. Okay, there are, but they're very limited. There's no like random trainers around, and there's no gym battles at all. You're not focused on badges or whatever. You are set in like early, I don't know what year, but early in Pokemon history, where the Pokemon are obviously native there. They're around, but at least in the town, from what I can tell, that you kind of appear at, everyone's very timid or intimidated, like the general civilians, about Pokemon. Like, these are wild animals, they attack, blah, blah, blah. They're very scared of them, and they don't know what to do. So they have these groups that are essentially like protectors. They work with the Pokemon, they defend the town, they try and help them out. And they're trying to also help the common person accept Pokemon as like, we can cohabitate land, work together, symbiotes, no, not symbiotes, whatever the fuck. Working together to all benefit. There's some term for it, and I'm just coexist. I'll go with that. So that's essentially what is happening in this world. And you appear very weird, but you like, if I get into the explanation of what the fuck actually happens, it's a big what. You appear at this town and you essentially start helping out. And your objective is to help the town do exactly what I said by taking on requests, helping citizens, etc. But then your main quest is essentially just collection. You are going to collect Pokemon to help fill the Pokedex, which has always been something in like the traditional Pokemon games, but it wasn't really like a hard focus. It was just going to be like, oh, are you going to be able to complete your Pokedex? Can you catch them all? You know, the whole song and dance. But you didn't really get anything for it. I've never personally collected all the Pokemons. I think I got close in one of them, maybe Gen 2 or Gen 3. But if I recall, all you really get is like this little in-game certificate from some random person you talk to. Like, there's nothing really for it. And this game's whole focus, or at least the main focus, is this objective. And how they do it is really intriguing. It's not just go around, catch them. It's you're doing research. So when you catch a new Pokemon, for example, a Psyduck, you just see a Psyduck out in the wild. Maybe it's waddling around. Maybe it's taking a nap in a stream like the one I caught. You can either sneak up on it and capture it in like a primitive Pokeball, or if the situation turns sideways, maybe that Psyduck will be aggressive to you and they will attack. You'll have to defend yourself and either, unfortunately, win the battle, make it faint, or you will capture it and once again go from there. Once you capture, I think it's once you capture your first one, it could be just encounter, you'll get like missions about this Psyduck. So for example, catch so many Psyduck, 1, 2, 3, whatever it is. Defeat the Psyduck, numbers. See Psyduck use water guns. See Psyduck use confusion. You get like challenges that essentially help the research level of the Psyduck. So you're like learning about it. So on top of the collection aspect, you also have these 10 or so challenges for each individual Pokemon. And that can seem like a lot, for sure, but I think it makes it more enticing of like, yeah, I want to do this. It's something weird in all of our brains of like checklists. Oh, we like checking things off, little objectives. You know, it could be said for any game, really. But that's what I think makes this one really fun. The other ones are just like, catch, okay, one and done. With this one, you kind of have to do a little bit more, but it makes it fun. And it's not just run around, avoid the grass, don't get attacked. Another thing that I think helps push this game forward with at least like the collecting aspect is it is open world. So it's very exploratory, and the Pokemon are walking around and living their lives. Like, once again, Psyduck was just chilling in the stream doing that. You'll see Pokemon galloping around. You'll see Pokemon kind of interacting with one another, doing, eating stuff, whatever, living their lives. And Sword and Shield had this as well in certain areas of the game where it's just this big open area and Pokemon are wandering around. And it's a fun twist to, once again, the traditional style of Pokemon. The traditional games, you're only going to interact with Pokemon if you walk into the high grass. You walk into the grass, random occurrence, boom, they're going to run into you, and then you're going to get into the battle, and it's going to be random. With this one, you can kind of plan your approach a little bit more. Oh, I see a Pikachu over there. I already have a Pikachu. I'm just going to leave the Pikachu alone. Or maybe you have an objective about the Pikachu. That's where I'm focused. Seeing them walk around just kind of makes the world feel a little bit more alive, per se. And it's fun to see. Now, another thing that they've kind of added into this game is this concept of Alpha Pokemon. Now, I don't know too much, so I could be, a little bit off. But the Alpha Pokemon are essentially like boss battles. It seems like they're like big supercharged Pokemon. They're a little bit higher level. I think they may also have the chance of learning unique moves for them. But you can run into them and it's like a boss fight. So it adds a little bit of a challenge mechanic. And then some footage I had seen from another streamer is some of these like fights, when you're not fighting per se with Pokemon to Pokemon, when it's just yourself, like the Pokemon will attack you and you have like a dodge roll in this game. So trying to catch certain Pokemon, the streamer I was watching, Jeremy Dooley Noted Gaming, was trying to catch a legendary Pokemon, and essentially him and the Pokemon were battling it out. The Pokemon was defending itself using some tornado attacks while also, attacking Jeremy as he was attempting to capture it. And complete his Pokedex, while Jeremy had to dodge, avoid, throw Pokeballs when he can to try and stun it, or at least try and, whittle down its defenses with some other items. And it was like a whole, so calling back to Sifu, whole dance and fight there that was intriguing. It's just we haven't seen that before in a Pokemon game, and it was really interesting to see. And I haven't gotten to that point yet. I think I just have entered the second region, so I'm still very early into it, but I'm excited to see where the game goes from here, and how this story evolves. The characters I've met so far are kind of interesting. Sometimes I'll admit it seems like they talk a lot, and I'm like, I don't fully understand what you're saying, but I get the general gist of like, okay, you want me to go help here, okay, I can do that. So I'd say like the characters are interesting, but maybe that is the downfall, that the story's not 100% like got its hooks in me. I will say that the small requests that you do get from civilians just in the village, in the world, is very fun as well. And it's kind of nice to have these side quests where like, I don't really want to focus on the Pokedex right now, or I don't want to go do the main quest. Maybe I need to train up my Pokemon to make them a little stronger. Instead of just going out and grinding those levels, having the purpose of the side quest, whether it's find out information about Pokemon X, or can you catch me a Pokemon that will help me with this task? Like, it makes those grind sessions, the leveling up sessions, a little bit more interesting and feel worthwhile compared to just like, all right, yep, hit the A button 5 times, 10 times, 15 times, like just blah 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 blah. Like, not as much of a waste of time, or like there's some purpose to it. Hopefully that makes sense. But it's been a good time. I really have enjoyed it. Once again, looking forward to playing more. Something that has also been kind of tweaked with this game. I don't know when they officially added it. I guess Gen 2 would be when they officially added it. But shiny Pokemon have been like a thing that is really popular in the Pokemon community. I say in quotations. Where it's essentially just a palette swap. It's a different color for the Pokemon. And just kind of adds for another dynamic of collecting. And in Gen 2, they had forced it into the story where there was a red Gyarados, one of the Pokemon. Just everybody would catch it. Well, not necessarily everybody would catch it. Everyone would encounter it. And it was kind of added to the lore there. And then subsequently, big word, through the following games, they would still have this mechanic, but it was like very rare chances that you would get it. You had to either breed Pokemon and then hope that by random chance the egg would hatch and be a shiny Pokemon, or in a different game, like there was a small percentage chance that when you ran into a group of Pokemon, one of those Pokemon would be shiny. And people have gone crazy for like collecting this. People, once again, we like doing our check marks. We like getting those objectives. And shiny collecting was a big thing. I've seen a lot of streamers spend many hours and many attempts trying to get a shiny of a certain Pokemon. So something they have done in this game to kind of also have that shiny concept in there, from my understanding, is once again ties into the research levels of the Pokedex. Now, I mentioned you get like 10 or so challenges, and they have like different tiers. Once again, for example, just like catching the Pokemon. Catch 1 of them, 2 of them, 3 of them, 5 of them, 10 of them. Let's say that's like the hierarchy of it, whatever, the tiers of it. That's just one challenge. Now, your objective is to fill the Pokedex by catching these Pokemon, but then also getting to a research level of 10. Now, you don't have to do every task to get to 10. You just have to do enough of them. So you could do, maybe 5 of the challenges at different tier levels, and you'll technically get the check mark of like, yep, this Pokemon is level 10. That's the max research level, whatever. The way they've kind of taken this concept of the Pokemon and the research, and then also the shinies, and put them together, once again from my understanding, is if you complete all the tiers and all the challenges of a certain Pokemon, the percentage that their shiny will appear is like not increased. The percentage it will show, yes, the percentage it will show is increased so much. So it's kind of like, here's your reward for putting in that work. And that's fun. To be honest, I know some of you guys are like, that's a lot of work. Why the fuck are you doing it for just this little, digital creature? Fair, totally fair. Not everybody's into collecting things. Not everybody's into, but as someone who is playing this game and enjoys it, to have that incentive of like, oh, I could get this if I just put the work in here, and that goal to chase after, it's fun. That's the gameplay loop. That's what every, video game essentially chases after. How do I get the player to keep playing my game, or play it more, or enjoy it more, so they, talk about it, like me. And that's something that I find really appealing. Like, oh, it's not just this random Russian roulette of like, does this Pokemon egg have a shiny in it? God, I hope so. And then 1,000 eggs later, I still don't have it. Knowing that maybe I could get this shiny if I want to put the work in. I can do these objectives. And that's a thing too that kind of flies or goes into how I play these games. The chill weekend vibe. Like, maybe it's not that big a deal if I do this thing, but also I'm like, I'm just chilling. Fuck it. I can spend some time doing those things. Why not? As long as it's something to do, hey, that's good. That's a good move. So yeah, Arceus has been a lot of fun. Once again, very early in the game, excited to kind of do more of the game and kind of discover what is going on in this story and figure out, I don't know if all the Pokemon made it in this game. There's like 800 or so. But see who's involved, who's not involved, and go from there. I will say before I kind of close out this topic, another mechanic that they've kind of changed from this game, from traditional, that I find really interesting is A, how you evolve Pokemon, and B, their movesets. Now, obviously evolution of Pokemon, that's the whole thing. Like, get to a certain level, they're going to evolve. So usually your starter's going to evolve at level 16 or level 18. And they're going to go from Squirtle to Wartortle to Blastoise at 32, whatever it is. In this game, you can tell your Pokemon when to evolve once they reach their level. So, for example, if we're going the Squirtle situation, level 18. Squirtle's level 18, great, I can go to War Turtle. Now, in the traditional games, after your Squirtle had reached a level, to go through the animation, it would evolve. You could interrupt it. You could stop it and be like, whoa, 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 whoa. I want to stay Squirtle. This one, you don't have to do that. He'll stay the Squirtle, or she'll stay the Squirtle, until you tell it to evolve. It's a very small change. Not that drastic, but just an interesting concept of like, oh, if I want to evolve it, I just have to go in, boop, button press, and it will go. Interesting concept. The movesets, I think, is the more interesting thing. Now, once again, in traditional games, you level up, you progress, your Pokemon grow. Every once in a while, they'll learn a new move. Water Gun, Surf, well, maybe not Surf. Water Gun, Water Pulse, defense moves, etc., 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 whatever. And you can only have 4 moves. You customize that however you want. You learn them, you level up, they learn a new move. Do I replace one of these or do I keep it? And then you do the same thing progressively as they grow. But once they haven't learned the move or they've forgotten the move, it's kind of like it's gone. You can't go back and learn it unless in later games you would talk to certain characters where they would ask for a resource, like give me, not money per se, but give me this collectible and I will teach your Pokemon something they could have learned or have learned in the past. In Arceus, everything they learn is accessible at any point. They kind of went like MMO RPG with this, where everything's very customizable and you can change it at any point. So once you learn the 4 moves, the other one just kind of goes in like a log and that will build up and you can swap, cross over these moves at any time. Just a fun way, once again, to feel more customized with your experience. And it's fun. It's exciting, especially when it comes to a move that maybe you don't know how it works out. It was high risk, high reward back in the day. Oh boy, sounding like a old man. But as a kid, I'm playing my Game Boy Advance, playing through Silver. Okay, what's this move do? There's no description for what the move does. Maybe, I don't know. Like, do I want my Pokemon to learn this and maybe lose a good move and this one doesn't do anything? Maybe it's not an attack move. That was all I did as a kid. I didn't care about stats and changing those. So if you did learn it, you're like, oh, man, I just wasted a slot and then that move's gone and oh, dang. But with this, new move, no risk. There's no risk in this situation. You want to try it, you equip it, maybe it's great, maybe it's ass, swap it out. So it's just kind of one of those, what is the term? Not ease of access. It is essentially that, but I'm trying to think of something else. Little life changes. I can't think of it. I'm going to yell at myself later when it comes to mind. Somebody's probably yelling at their screen right now as they watch or listen to this. Quality of life. Thank you, brain. Quality of life. It's one of those quality of life changes that is small in the grand scheme of things, but is very nice just for the user experience of like, you know what, let's take out the frustration of it. I definitely understand in the traditional games why it was there, but for this, just the exploration, especially when battling is not at the forefront, at least against trainers, gym badges, Elite Four, etc., having that ease of access to switch the moves, use what you want to use, very nice. Very appreciated and cool to see. So yeah, Arceus has been a blast. Another one I'd highly recommend, especially if you're a Pokemon fan. I know it's a little different, but give it a shot, give it a try. It's very relaxing and something that, just pick up whenever you can, play it for a little bit, put it down, or just chill with, whatever you want. It's a good time. It's a good time. So yeah, that's been another episode of the Wait, What Are We Talking About podcast. My name is Bret, aka Enigma 9011, and you can catch this podcast usually live over on twitch.tv/Enigma911 every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern. You join the chat if you're a subscriber over there. We'd love to have you in on the conversation. But if you can't catch a live, that is A-OK. Go over to YouTube and podcast services the very next week, where it drops topic by topic and is put as one big video and MP3 for your amusement on the following Friday. Last but not least, hashtag ad merch store and get all of your swag over there. T-shirts, cups, backpacks, and more. Rep the brand, support us, and we would love you for it. Appreciate you guys hanging out today, giving this a watch or giving it a listen. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video game talk. I know I've been enjoying playing both Sifu and Arceus. Like I mentioned during the Sifu topic, we are streaming games once again. So if you want to hang out during some evenings, during some nights, watch me play some games, have some fun, have some laughs, you're more than welcome to do that. It's always over on twitch.tv/Enigma911, so you can drop a follow over there, join us, we'll have a good time. But yeah, looking forward to always more podcasts with you guys, chat some more games, chat some more wrestling, chatting just a whole variety of topics, and having some more guests on. We had James on last week, which was a blast. Looking forward to more fun conversations with some guests and with you guys in the future. Thank you guys so much for giving this a watch, giving it a listen, and your support, and I will see you guys on the next one. Take care.